Welcome back to the Cash Kicks channel for expert sports analysis, the best team picks, total picks, and in-depth breakdowns based on previous performances. Stay ahead of the game with our winning insights. And for even more exclusive parlay picks, check out Channel in membership. New York Knicks versus Boston Celtics. The lights are on at TD Garden, and the stakes feel bigger than February. New York enters at 33-19. Third in the Eastern Conference and chasing ground in the Atlantic Division. Boston stands at 34-18, second in the East, protecting home floor and riding momentum. The season series is tied 1-1. The numbers give Boston a slight edge, just under 59%, and the Celtics are aiming for a sixth straight win. This is positioning. This is tone setting. This is a potential playoff preview wrapped in a regular season afternoon. New York brings the higher scoring average at 117.5 points per game, shooting 47% from the field. Boston counters at 115.6 per night on the same 47% efficiency, but with a defensive profile that's cleaner, just 108.4 points allowed compared to the Knicks' 112.3. The Celtics own the rebounding edge at 45.4 boards, to New York's 46.3 being nearly even, while Boston protects the rim with 5.3 blocks per game against New York's 4.1. The Knicks generate 26.9 assists per game, a touch higher than Boston's 23.9, signaling more ball movement and half-court orchestration. Both teams hover around 8 steals, disruptive but disciplined. The offensive engines define their rhythm. Jalen Brunson leads New York with 27.1 points and 6.1 assists, shooting 46.7% from the floor, 37.3% from three, and 84.8% at the line. Karl Anthony Towns adds 19.9 points and 11.9 rebounds, stretching the floor at 36.5% from deep while anchoring the glass. OG Anunoby chips in 16.6 with defensive range and 1.7 steals per game. For Boston, Jaylen Brown sets the tone at 29.5 points per game on 48.5% shooting, attacking downhill and living at the stripe. Derek White supplies 17.4 points and 5.5 assists with 38.8% three-point accuracy, while Neemias Queta controls the paint with 8.4 rebounds and interior size. Boston blocks more shots. New York shares the ball more freely. From the perimeter, Boston shoots 35.7% as a team from three, while New York sits at 37.3% from deep among its primary options. Free throw shooting favors New York's lead guard, but Boston's collective balance stands out. The defining theme emerges clearly: New York's offensive flow and playmaking against Boston's defensive discipline and rim protection. Recent form sharpens the contrast. The Knicks have won 4 of their last 5, victories over Denver, Washington, the Lakers, and Portland, all by double digits, before stumbling in Detroit 118-80. That loss was abrupt, but the prior stretch showed scoring depth and defensive engagement, holding 3 opponents under 101. Boston has been steadier and hotter. 5 straight wins: Miami, Houston, Dallas, Milwaukee, Sacramento. 3 of those victories came by double digits, including a 44-point defensive clinic against Milwaukee. Boston is tightening defensively and closing with authority. Now it narrows to the duel. Brunson is precision, footwork, tempo, mid-range control. He averages 27.1 points, 6.1 assists, and nearly 3 made threes per game, balancing scoring bursts with surgical decision-making. Brown is force. 29.5 per game, 35.7% from three, nearly 7 rebounds a night. He thrives in transition and late-clock isolation, and he's efficient from both two-point range and the line at 76.9%. Brunson dictates pace. Brown bends it. One operates with craft, the other with power. If Brunson controls turnovers and finds Towns in space, New York hums. If Brown collapses the defense and frees White on the perimeter, Boston stretches the floor and punishes rotations. Tactically, This is about resistance. Boston's 108.4 points allowed signals a team that switches cleanly and contests everything. Their 5.3 blocks per game protect the rim, forcing mid-range decisions. New York must leverage its 26.9 assists, quick reversals, inside-out action through Towns, cutting from the weak side. Rebounding will be tight, but second-chance control could tilt momentum. Boston's defensive rebounding and shot blocking can ignite transition, where Brown is lethal. The Knicks must limit live ball turnovers. Boston thrives when the game speeds up. Bench production and overall roster depth often become decisive factors, especially in tightly contested matchups where starters log heavy minutes. Boston's rotation has consistently delivered reliable perimeter shooting, spacing the floor and punishing defensive lapses with timely three-point shot-making. That steadiness allows them to maintain offensive rhythm even when the primary scorers rest. In contrast, New York's secondary unit brings undeniable energy, physicality, and defensive intensity, but it must prove it can endure extended scoring droughts without surrendering momentum. Late-game execution ultimately swings outcomes, and that edge typically belongs to the team that can defend aggressively without fouling while calmly converting free throws under pressure. In a tense fourth quarter, rim protection, switchability, and defensive versatility tend to translate regardless of pace or venue. At home, with crowd support amplifying communication and confidence, Boston appears to hold a slight but meaningful advantage in those critical closing moments. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Boston Celtics winner. The margin comes from defensive steadiness and late-game shot creation. New York's offense will find stretches of rhythm, but Boston's rim protection and transition efficiency create separation in the final 6 minutes. At home, with momentum and balance, the Celtics close stronger and take control of the Atlantic race. My second pick for this match is total over 211.5, Miami Heat versus Washington Wizards. The Miami Heat arrive in Washington at 27-26, sitting second in the Southeast Division and trying to steady themselves in the middle of the Eastern Conference race. The Wizards, 14-37 and fifth in the division, are building and battling, but they return home to Capital One Arena looking to defend their floor. On paper, this leans heavily one direction. An 86.5% win probability favors Miami. But division games have a way of tightening the script. For the Heat, it's about stabilizing position and avoiding a slide in a crowded conference. For the Wizards, it's about growth, momentum, and proving that their young core can stand up to a playoff-tested opponent. Miami scores 119.5 points per game, comfortably ahead of Washington's 112.3. The Heat allow 117.6, while the Wizards surrender 122.7, a defensive gap that immediately shapes the narrative. Both teams shoot 46% from the field, but Miami's efficiency profile is stronger from the line at 79.0%, compared to Washington's 75.7%. From three, the Wizards hold a slight edge at 36.0% to Miami's 35.8%. The Heat move the ball with purpose, averaging 28.6 assists to Washington's 25.4. They control the glass as well, 46.5 rebounds per game to the Wizards' 43.8. Defensively, Miami generates 9.1 steals per night, while Washington counters with more rim resistance at 6.0 blocks to Miami's 4.2. Individually, Norman Powell drives Miami's offense with 23.0 points per game on 47.5% shooting and 39.3% from three, adding 3.6 rebounds and 2.6 assists, while converting 84.6% at the stripe. Bam Adebayo anchors the interior with 18.1 points and 9.8 rebounds, while Davion Mitchell orchestrates at 7.2 assists per game. Tyler Herro adds 21.9 points on 49.7% shooting and 35.8% from deep, giving Miami layered scoring. Washington is led by C.J. McCollum's 18.8 points per game, shooting 45.4% overall and 39.3% from three. Rookie big Alex Sarr posts 17.3 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 2.0 blocks, stretching the floor at 33.9% from deep and converting nearly 50% overall. Keyshawn George contributes 15.1 points and 4.9 assists, while the Wizards' length and youth show in their shot-blocking numbers. This game's defining theme is control versus volatility. Miami's balance, ball movement, and rebounding discipline against Washington's shot-blocking and perimeter scoring spurts. If the Wizards protect the rim and get hot from three, they can hang around. If Miami dictates tempo and wins the glass, the math tilts quickly. Recent form tells a sharper story. Miami has dropped 4 of its last 5, losses to Boston, Atlanta, and twice to Chicago, though they did post a dominant 134-91 win over the Bulls in that stretch. The inconsistency is evident. Explosive highs followed by defensive lapses. Washington, meanwhile, has won 3 of its last 5. They beat Detroit 126-117, New York 132-101, and Sacramento 116-112, with competitive losses to Brooklyn and the Lakers. Offensively, they've shown the ability to push pace and crack 120. Defensively, they remain vulnerable, but the energy has improved. The marquee duel centers on Powell and McCollum. Powell is direct and efficient. Catch, rise, fire. Lethal at nearly 40% from three and automatic at the line. McCollum plays with rhythm and craft, navigating screens, working mid-range pockets, and spacing the floor at 39.3% from beyond the arc. Inside, Adebayo versus Sarr is strength against length. Bam's physicality and touch around the rim meet Sarr's mobility and shot-blocking presence. That interior exchange could determine second-chance points and foul pressure. Tactically, Miami will test Washington's defense with ball movement and drive and kick action, forcing rotations and attacking closeouts. The Heat's assist advantage suggests they can manufacture quality looks. Washington must protect the paint without over-collapsing. Miami's shooters will punish late rotations. Rebounding looms large. Miami's plus 2.7 edge on the boards could translate into extra possessions. Turnovers are another swing factor. Washington averages 15.2 per game to Miami's 13.7. Against a Heat team that converts steals into transition points, carelessness could break momentum quickly. Bench production and defensive discipline are likely to define the tone of the fourth quarter, particularly if the pace tightens and every possession carries added weight. If the Wizards' secondary scorers can consistently provide spacing and knock down open perimeter looks, and if Sarr stays on the floor by avoiding foul trouble, Washington has a realistic path to keeping the margin narrow deep into the game. Their ability to limit second-chance points and defend without sending Miami to the line will be just as important as their shot-making. Bench depth and interior defense also matter. Minnesota's rim protection, 5.7 blocks per game, discourages paint attacks. The Clippers' spacing and veteran shot-making could neutralize that if perimeter shots fall early. In the end, the numbers point toward Minnesota's balance and home-court rhythm. The Timberwolves score nearly 7 points more per game, rebound at a higher rate, and create more assisted looks. Expect a competitive, tactical battle early before Minnesota's depth begins to stretch the margin. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Minnesota Timberwolves winner. Minnesota's rebounding control and offensive balance prove decisive, and Edwards' scoring surge closes the door. My second pick for this match is total over 221.5, Indiana Pacers versus Toronto Raptors. Indiana enters at 13-39, 15th in the Eastern Conference and fighting to stop a 3-game slide. Toronto stands 31-22, 5th in the East and firmly planted in the playoff picture. One team is searching for stability, the other is sharpening its edge for postseason positioning. The season series has tilted heavily north of the border, and the numbers project a clear advantage for the home side, with Toronto holding roughly a 69% win probability. For the Pacers, this is about restoring belief. For the Raptors, it's about protecting ground and reinforcing status as a top 6 contender. Toronto averages 114.0 points per game, while allowing 112.4. Indiana scores 110.7, but surrenders 118.4. The defensive gap immediately defining the challenge. The Raptors shoot 47% from the field compared to Indiana's 45%. From beyond the arc, Indiana connects at 36.0%, slightly ahead of Toronto's 35.3%. The free throw line is decisive. Toronto converts 83.1%, Indiana just 68.5%. Ball movement favors the Raptors at 29.5 assists per game to Indiana's 25.9. Rebounding is nearly even, 42.9 for Toronto, 42.7 for Indiana. The Pacers block 4.9 shots per game, narrowly ahead of Toronto's 4.8, but the Raptors generate more disruption with 8.5 steals compared to 7.4. Turnovers are similar, 13.3 for Toronto and 13.6 for Indiana, yet against a high assist offense, even slight slippage matters. Pascal Siakam leads Indiana with 23.7 points and 6.8 rebounds on 48.2% shooting, carrying much of the offensive weight. Andrew Nembhard adds 17.4 points and 7.5 assists, providing structure in the half court. Benedict Mathurin contributes 17.8 per game, while Jay Huff protects the rim at 1.9 blocks. Toronto counters with Brandon Ingram's 22.2 points per game on 47.2% shooting and 36.8% from 3, hitting 83.7% at the line. Scotty Barnes supplies 19.3 points and 8.3 rebounds on an efficient 50.3% clip, while Emmanuel Quickley adds 17.1 points and 6.1 assists, shooting 44.3% overall and 37.6% from deep. Barnes also anchors defensively with 1.5 blocks per game and quickly contributes 1.3 steals. The defining theme is efficiency versus vulnerability. Toronto's balanced scoring and elite free throw execution against Indiana's defensive struggles. If the Pacers can stretch the floor and win the three-point margin, they create tension. If Toronto controls pace and lives at the line, the math favors separation. Recent form underscores the contrast. Indiana has dropped 3 straight, a 105-99 loss to Milwaukee, 131-122 to Utah, and 118-114 to Houston, after narrow wins over Chicago and Atlanta. They can score, but defensive lapses late have undone them. Toronto has taken 3 of its last 5, beating Chicago 123-107, Utah 107-100, and Minnesota 128-126. Losses to Orlando and New York expose defensive cracks. But at home, the Raptors' offensive flow has been consistent and confident. The spotlight duel centers on Siakam and Ingram. Siakam blends power and touch, attacking from the elbows and finishing through contact, scoring 23.7 per game at nearly 48%. Ingram counters with length and shot-making range, gliding into mid-range pull-ups and spacing the floor at almost 37% from 3. Barnes's presence adds another dimension. His 8.3 rebounds and 50% shooting give Toronto interior stability that complements Ingram's perimeter craft. Tactically, Toronto will pressure Indiana's perimeter containment and rotate the ball until seams appear. Nearly 30 assists per game reflect patience and trust. Indiana must protect the paint without overhelping. Toronto's shooters punish late closeouts and convert free throws at an elite rate. Rebounding may project as a neutral battleground on paper, with neither side holding a decisive edge on the glass. But discipline tells a different story. Indiana's 118.4 points allowed per game highlight recurring defensive breakdowns, particularly in transition coverage and weak side rotations that open driving lanes and corner threes. Those lapses are not merely statistical noise. They reflect moments where communication falters and matchups are lost. If the Raptors actively push tempo off live ball steals and long rebounds, they can stress Indiana's recovery defense before it has time to set. Forcing the Pacers into hurried half-court adjustments increases the likelihood of cross-matches and late closeouts, where efficient teams capitalize. Over time, those small advantages compound, allowing momentum to swing quickly and sustained pressure to tilt the rhythm of the game. The true X factor in this matchup is performance at the stripe. When an 83% free throw team faces an opponent converting below 69%, the late-game calculus shifts dramatically. In close contests, those empty trips accumulate pressure, forcing tougher shot selection and altering substitution patterns. Meanwhile, the more reliable team can extend leads methodically, turning fouls into efficient points and controlling tempo in the final minutes. Expect Indiana to compete early behind confident perimeter shooting and timely scoring bursts from Siakam, especially if they can push pace and capitalize on transition opportunities. However, across a full 48 minutes, Toronto's overall balance, half-court efficiency, and poise on its home floor should gradually assert control. In tight stretches, their composure and ability to convert high-leverage possessions are likely to be the difference. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Toronto Raptors winner. Toronto's control of tempo and dominance at the free throw line become the separating force, reinforcing their playoff standing and completing the job with measured authority. My second pick for this match is total over 222.5. Los Angeles Clippers versus Minnesota Timberwolves. The numbers set the stage before the ball even goes up. Los Angeles arrives at 24-27, seventh in the Western Conference, trying to steady a season that has hovered around the middle tier. Minnesota stands at 32-21, fourth in the West, and climbing, protecting home floor with authority at 17-9. The projection leans heavily toward the Timberwolves, roughly a 65% edge, and that reflects more than just record. It reflects balance, momentum, and the urgency of a team chasing seeding in a crowded conference race. For the Clippers, this is about traction. For Minnesota, it's about consolidation, tightening its grip on a top 4 spot and sending a message that it belongs among the West's contenders. Los Angeles averages 112.3 points per game while allowing 113.1. Minnesota scores 119.5 and gives up 114.8. The Timberwolves play faster and more explosively. The Clippers lean into half-court control. Both teams shoot 48% from the field, but Minnesota's scoring volume is fueled by 45.0 rebounds and 26.5 assists per night, compared to 40.8 boards and 23.5 assists for LA. The Timberwolves also edge the defensive activity categories, 8.7 steals and 5.7 blocks, while the Clippers counter with 8.4 steals and 4.6 blocks. Individually, the efficiency tells the story. Kawhi Leonard leads the Clippers at 27.7 points per game on 49.7% shooting, 38.6% from three, and a blistering 91.9% at the line. He adds 6.2 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 2.0 steals, the team's two-way engine. James Harden contributes 25.4 points and 8.1 assists, stretching defenses with 34.7% from deep and 90.1% at the stripe. Ivica Zubac anchors the interior with 11.0 rebounds and 61.3% shooting, while Brook Lopez supplies 1.0 block per game in limited minutes. Minnesota counters with Anthony Edwards, producing 29.8 points on 49.4% from the field, 40.4% from three, and 79.4% at the line. Julius Randle adds 22.2 points and 5.4 assists, and Rudy Gobert dominates the paint with 11.4 rebounds and 1.7 blocks. Jaden McDaniels chips in 15.1 points on 51.8% shooting, giving the Wolves scoring balance across the lineup. The matchup theme is clear: Minnesota's offensive depth and rebounding strength against the Clippers' elite half-court shot creation. It's volume and physicality versus surgical efficiency. Recent form sharpens the contrast. The Clippers have alternated results: wins over Sacramento and Phoenix, losses to Cleveland and Philadelphia, and a narrow defeat to Denver. They've scored 117 or more in 2 of their last 5, but defensive lapses have cost them late. Minnesota, meanwhile, has dropped 3 of its last 5, including tight losses to New Orleans and Memphis, though it rebounded with a 128-126 win over Toronto. The Timberwolves are still pushing pace and scoring above 119 in 3 of those 5 games, but their defensive consistency has wavered. Now it centers on Leonard versus Edwards, precision against force. Leonard operates with calculated control, picking spots, living in the mid-range, punishing switches. Edwards is momentum incarnate, explosive off the dribble, confident from deep, relentless attacking downhill. Leonard's 49.7/38.6/91.9 shooting splits speak to efficiency and poise. Edwards' 29.8 scoring average and 40.4% from 3 signal volume with confidence. At home, with spacing around him and Gobert screening, Edwards thrives in rhythm. Leonard thrives in silence, methodical, patient, and devastating late. Tactically, Minnesota's 45.0 rebounds per game loom large. If Gobert and Randle control the glass, second chance points will tilt the tempo. The Timberwolves' 26.5 assists suggest a willingness to share the ball and attack rotations. The Clippers must counter by limiting turnovers and forcing Minnesota into half-court execution, where Leonard and Harden can dictate matchups. Defensively, LA will challenge Edwards with length on the perimeter and frequent switches designed to disrupt his rhythm, steering his drives toward Zubac's interior presence. By shrinking the floor and contesting without overcommitting, the Clippers can force tougher pull-ups rather than downhill finishes. Minnesota, meanwhile, will load up on Leonard, sending early help and crowding his preferred spots to make him a passer. The strategy dares Los Angeles' secondary shooters to convert consistently under pressure rather than allowing Leonard to control tempo in isolation. The true X factor may be pace. If Minnesota accelerates the game beyond 100 possessions, its scoring depth and transition attack can become overwhelming, creating cross matches and open threes before the defense sets. However, if the Clippers dictate a slower tempo, emphasizing half-court execution and leveraging their free throw efficiency, the advantage tilts toward their composure and shot selection late. Bench depth and interior defense also matter. Minnesota's rim protection, 5.7 blocks per game, discourages paint attacks. The Clippers' spacing and veteran shot-making could neutralize that if perimeter shots fall early. In the end, the numbers point toward Minnesota's balance and home court rhythm. The Timberwolves score nearly 7 points more per game, rebound at a higher rate, and create more assisted looks. Expect a competitive, tactical battle early before Minnesota's depth begins to stretch the margin. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Minnesota Timberwolves winner. Minnesota's rebounding control and offensive balance prove decisive, and Edwards' scoring surge closes the door. My second pick for this match is total over 221.5,